Hello and welcome to Wristwatch Obsession. Today I'm going to go over and do some feature set and also review of this really cool full metal G-Shock square in gold IP, which is iron plated. It's just a phenomenally gorgeous watch. It's one of my favorite G-Shocks of all time. In addition to the stainless one, I've probably owned about 25 G-Shocks at this point, and these two are my absolute favorites. So let's get into it and just we'll take a look at it, then I'll go over the features and what the module does in this watch. It's absolutely gorgeous. I think the thing that attracted it to me is the really retro vibe that it has. It's got that machinery vibe too that all G-Shock squares have, but when it's crafted in steel, what happens is you could see all the lines better than in the black resin watches. It really gives it that Art Deco-y, but also retro in this gold. And also, I normally don't like reverse LCDs like this one. Since this is the more expensive STN or Super Twisted Mnemonic display instead of just the TN, much better viewing, whether it's the positive or the negative. So as you can see, that is the difference. And the only difference between these two watches is the display here is positive where this one is negative. And also you have this one is the gold where on top the stainless where the other one's stainless. That's the only differences between these two watches. And also a difference would be the actual gold patterning on that really gorgeous display there. You can see the gold right on the display, and then you got the brick pattern reminiscent of the original 1983 screw down G-Shock, the way they used to make them. They stopped doing that, but on these premier models here, they're all made in Japan and they have a screw down back, as you can see. So there's actually an encased solid stainless steel watch inside, and normally you'd have the black resin on the outside, but this one has the full metal on the outside. That's why it's the full metal square, in addition to the bracelet being steel as well. Really nice black IP for the internal watch, the actual head of the watch, and then gold IP everywhere else, even the buttons. Very nicely done. A gorgeous mix of polished surfaces and brushed, or satin, whatever you want to call it. The bracelet as well. They left the polishing inside those circles. Also, as you can see on part of the links, otherwise it's brushed. So the whole, it's not too blingy as you would think. More understated. That bezel is also brushed. And then you got really shiny, polished on the dial. And I think that's perfect. I love that. The display is easy to see day or night because it has a backlight, which we're not going to be able to see. Yeah, we're not going to be able to see that in the day here. Give it a try. But it is adjustable from 2 to 4 seconds, and it has an auto feature, so when you turn your wrist at a certain angle to view it, the light will come on. So that's nicely done as well. So even at night, you just raise it to your eye to read it, or just raise your wrist like this. Boom, that's all you have to do and the light will come on. And you can do 2 to 4 seconds so you can keep the battery from draining too much. It is a rechargeable battery though, the last 20-25 years. And a solar panel where that brick pattern is what keeps it charged. These Bluetooth, this has Bluetooth to connect to your smartphone to update the time. But getting back to that case, let's just look at how nicely done it is. You can see the polishing on the buttons. You got the visible screws here, also gold. That's why this is more expensive, which is around $600-ish US. These don't come on sale like Citizens do, but I like buying from authorized dealers. So what I do is I buy them from jewelry stores when there's a sale, and you can typically get 10%, which you're doing really well on a G-Shock if you can get 10%. So that's what I do. These are rather expensive. So 10%, you get $60 off. I think that's a good way to do it. You can also buy gray market a little bit cheaper, but you're not going to get that warranty from an authorized dealer. You'll get international warranties, which are, I think, a little bit more problematic. Also, you might get a seconds on gray market sometimes, like returns, that sort of thing. So I just wait for a sale. That's how I do it. That's how I bought all these watches. These watches aren't given to me for review. I got to buy all my watches. So that's why I really do a lot of reviews first to make sure I'm going to like the watch that I get or close to it. Sometimes I make mistakes and I end up selling it because I don't like it. But normally, that's how I get them. All right, let's go over some of the features. Well, since we're talking about the case and the outside, let me talk about this bracelet. This will fit. This has so many links in it that it will fit 8.5-inch wrist, and plus with the very generous 4 screw hole adjustments here, it can go well over 8.5, probably 8 3/4-inch wrist it can handle. I have 7.5-inch wrist, so I took 4 links out, which reduced the weight. If you leave all the links in, this watch comes in for a G-Shock at a heavy 6 ounces, 5.9 actually ounces. With 4 links removed, it is 5.6 ounces. But I normally don't wear really heavy bracelet divers anymore that are over 6 ounces. So I was a little bit nervous about getting a heavier watch again. But my fears were not warranted because this is one of the most comfortable watches I've ever worn. And the fluidness of this bracelet, look at that. Look how articulating those links are. That's one of the really good pros of this. Man, look at that. What it does is it hugs your wrist better and distributes the weight better and makes it supremely comfortable. This is one of the most comfortable bracelets I've ever had. There's no hot spots underneath. It's perfectly smooth. It's all milled. Very nicely done. Just love that. Same thing with the silver one. Same thing. All right, let's go over some of the features here. So I don't forget any. There's so many. So it's 157 grams the way it is now. Normally it's 167 grams. It's a reverse LCD, as I mentioned. Made in Japan. A lot of the G-Shocks are made in Thailand and other places, really excellent, but the fit and finish on the Japan model is just superb. Bluetooth, multiband 6. It has the atomic radio connections all over the world. Updated tries to do it 4 times a night. As soon as it connects, it doesn't try anymore. And the Bluetooth 4 times a day, every 6 hours, connects to your smartphone if you have one. What it doesn't have, and that's the only nitpick of the entire watch, which is really awesome. But the only nitpick is there's no power level meter for the battery unless you have a smartphone connected. So I wish they put it on the screen. It has world time, local time, 5 alarms. It has a signal every hour. It has a chronograph or stopwatch, countdown timer. And the world time, it'll go like 48 cities, the normal thing you would get. So it has a time. Let's go through that now. You'll see the different screens. There's so much to see on the screen there. It's kind of difficult to see in the light. But here we have power save is on. It has a power save feature. The auto light is on, so if you tip it up like this, the light will come on. It says received up here above the E. That means it connected to the watch and updated itself. It has daylight saving times. You can see the DST over there. Let's see if I can point to that. So again, we have power save, light, received. Wednesday, September 23rd. It always has the date up there unless you go to different screens, and the time will be there. The little PM for P for PM, I mean. There'll be no markings if it's AM, and it also has 24-hour time to go for 24 military time. Here we have the hour, minute, seconds. It says Bluetooth multiband 6. Here's the button for setting and different things up and down. Here's the light button. Here you can go through the different alarms and so forth. Also use this button to find my phone. This actually has a Find My Phone. If you have a smartphone and you lose it, you just hold this button down and it'll make a very loud sound, music on your phone, regardless of whether you have the sound shut off with the switch or if the sound is turned real low. It doesn't matter. You could adjust that when you set it up and it'll be loud, which is pretty amazing. Here's the button for going through adjusting the settings and so forth. And here you go through the different modes. So here we have the world time. It's set to UTC right now. And you could do 5 quick settings. So you could do 5 different quick time zones out of the 48 or whatever it has. Next screen we have the alarm. There's alarm number 1. I don't have it set to anything, but if you hit this button here, you can go 2, 3, 4. They're all set to 12, the standard. There's the snooze also, and it has a signal, the hourly signal. So all you do is just hit this button here, and it turns the signal on. It'll beep every hour. The beep, by the way, there's beeping right now. You're not going to hear it. That's the other. That's probably a con of the watch, is that the beep is so low. I doubt the alarm will wake you up if you're wearing it. But I find that it's not just this model. All the screwback models are so encased, because I think the sound comes out the back and it vibrates on the case, because the regular backs, it's rather loud. These are so soft, you really can't hear it unless you're in a really quiet room and you're close to the watch, like within 2 feet. So that's a con, is that the beep, like right now, every time I hit this, it's beeping, and you're not hearing anything. Barely. Well, let me put it up here. Maybe you could hear it. Yeah, I don't know if you could hear that. It is really low. So that's one of the cons, is if you're going to use it for alarms, this watch might not be the best. All right, so next screen we have the stopwatch. It's opposite. Normally you hit up here on a chronograph, and down here on these watches you hit down here. Not all G-Shocks, but this one. 100th of a second. Check that out. And over here you hit this one for reset. That's different too. On this one, here's the reset. A lot of G-Shocks it's up here, but other watches obviously it's down here. 24 hours it'll do the chronograph. Countdown timer, same thing, 24 hours. So you hit it, starts counting down. I have it set for 1 minute just for display purposes, test purposes. And then again, you reset it. Now we're back to the home screen. You set this wherever you want. I have it set for the Eastern United States. So that's it for the features. Let me go through my notes to see if there's anything else I missed. We'll leave it on the home screen. The home screen does have a higher pitched sound than the other screen, so even without looking at the watch, you can get it back to the home screen. Like I was saying, the retro vibes of this watch is really cool. I think the reason for that is I grew up in the 70s and 80s, and there were a lot of gold watches out back then that looked very similar to this, with a black screen. You didn't see any time, because what you did, you pushed the button and then red LEDs would light up. And at a glance, this looks so much like that. So that's I think that was one of the big draws of the gold version to me right away. That's why I love this watch, I think. Let's see if I missed anything here. I think that's it. I think I covered everything. Oh, the light also has fade in, fade out, so it doesn't just pop in and pop off very quickly. You can't see that here. But it'll fade in and fade out. I think I'm gonna do the silver watch inside, and you'll see that glow when I do the full review of the silver watch. I'm gonna wrap it up right here. After I put it on, I'm gonna show you what it looks like on the wrist. But I gotta say, I love this watch. One of my favorites of all time. If you have any reservations about getting this, you think you're gonna like it, I would say pull the trigger on it, because you won't regret it. It is a high-end, superb fit and finish, superb function, all Japanese made. And for the money, you're getting a tremendous value for what you're getting, and it'll last like a lifetime. It's just an unbelievable watch. So let's check this out on the wrist. And you could wear this in a sporty, you could wear it with dress, it looks good just like that. The clasp is a double pusher with a click. Superbly done, superbly comfortable. It's just unbelievably amazing band, bracelet. 7.5 inch wide wrist. I kind of have wide, flat wrist, not round. Just fits perfect. I think it looks awesome. I love this watch, and thank you for watching Wristwatch Obsession. Catch you next time. Take care.